case you're wondering what I'm doing, of course, we're ensuring at least 2 meters social distancing between our staff, between our table, and of course our wonderful audience at home. Good morning, everybody. This is Captain Roman Wojnarski coming to you live from Station 424 in Toronto. In West Command, of course, another one in our very popular series, Discussions in the Fire Hall. Discussions about what? What else? Fire safety. Today we've got two of our very finest. We've got Mike and Marianne, who are going to be talking about a very important topic. With the nicer weather, with the more kind of outdoor feel, we're experiencing quite a few open air burning problems in the city. Of course, this is not only unsafe, but illegal, and Marianne and Mike are going to explain why. We encourage you to give us your questions. Type in your questions in the comments box, even if you just want to say hello. We very much welcome your questions, and this is an opportunity for us to talk about it, answer your questions, and ensure everybody out there is fire safe, both inside and outside your home. Okay, so Mike and Marianne, please join us, and let's see what they have to say.
Thanks, Roman. It's great to be here today. So today we're going to go over a little bit of fire safety. We're going to talk about open air burning and barbecue safety. So let's start off by talking about what is open air burning. Can you tell us, Marianne?
Yeah, so open air burning includes anything from bonfires, fire pits, sky lanterns, and other types of outdoor fireplaces, also known as chimeneas. And it's important to remember that even though these outdoor fireplaces are sold at retail stores throughout the city, it does not mean that they are permitted for open air burning use. In fact, open air burning is not permitted within the City of Toronto and is enforceable under the Fire Protection and Prevention Act.
Right. So is there ever a situation where it's ever permitted?
So again, open air burning is not permitted within the City of Toronto except when you have written approval, so you will need a permit. And this permit needs to be issued from Toronto Fire Services Fire Prevention Division. All requests for permits can be done through them, and for more information you can visit our website, you can contact a Toronto Fire Prevention office, or you can contact 311 for more information. So again, just to reiterate, remember, open air burning shall not take place unless it's been approved by a permit. So we need that permit, okay? Or if the open air burning consists of a small confined fire that is used to cook food like on a grill, a barbecue, or a spit. And remember, the size of the fire must be proportionate to the size of the food that you're cooking, and it must be supervised at all times. Or if you have an appliance that meets the Technical Standards and Safety Act, is for outdoor use only, and is assembled in accordance to the manufacturer's instructions. So Michael, we know that we need a permit in order to engage in open air burning. Now we've obtained our permit, we've gotten our permit. What are some safety tips that we could use before we engage in open air burning to make sure that we're staying safe?
Okay, now anytime we're dealing with open flames, it's really dangerous, so we need to make sure we're following the proper safety precautions, as you mentioned. So first thing is, we need to have a permit to do any kind of open air burning or have any open flames. So once we have our approved permit, it's important to make sure that we follow exactly what's been approved. So don't stray from what's on the permit. Part of the permit process is having an inspection done prior to the open air burning. So an inspector will come out and have a look at the area, make sure there's adequate distance to buildings, anything combustible, any people. So they'll look at the plan and they'll make sure that it's safe to do so. So don't stray from what's been approved, stay with what is on the approval. That's the first thing. Second, adequate clearance. Make sure there's always adequate clearance from anything, buildings, structures. Never burn plastics, construction debris, treated lumber, tires, pesticides, paint, or aerosol containers. When they burn, there'll be a lot of chemicals, and it can be really bad for your health and the environment. So never burn any of those materials. You also want to avoid burning on windy days if at all possible. We don't want flaming embers being blown around or smoke being blown into neighboring buildings or areas where we don't want it. So avoid burning on really dry, windy days as well. Okay? Also, open flames should never be covered. Now, you may have gone through the process of getting a permit and planned a day, and you're out with your friends, family, or whoever it is that you're with, and it starts raining. That doesn't mean you can pull out a canopy or a cover and do it under there.
Good point.
Important to remember, heat rises, smoke rises, and we could end up with a flaming canopy and flaming embers. So that could create a really dangerous situation. So never burn under a canopy, never cook under a canopy either, okay? Another thing to remember, we don't want to use gasoline, liquid combustibles, or any accelerants, okay? So we want to avoid all of those, and make sure we have a means to extinguish the fire ready, okay? So when we're ready and we're going to have a small contained cooking fire or our approved fire, we always want to make sure that we have a charged hose nearby if we can, okay? If we're not near any buildings and we can't have a hose line, then we want to make sure that we have at least a bucket of water, bucket of dirt or sand, some way to extinguish a flame if necessary, okay? Maybe even multiple buckets of water depending on the size of the cooking fire, but make sure we have something nearby we can extinguish those flames, okay? Now, a fire also has to be supervised, so never ever leave the area supervised at all times.
Yeah.
And before we finish, make sure it's completely extinguished. So use your hose, your bucket of water, and fully put out that flame before leaving the area.
Well, those are some great points, Michael, and I'm sure everyone's going to find them useful. And to that point, we've actually seen a lot of increase in home fires this year, with a lot more people staying home, a lot more people are cooking. And I'm sure with barbecue season just around the corner, a lot more people are going to be enjoying some barbecuing and doing a lot of cooking in the barbecue as well. So do we have any barbecue safety tips for our viewers that they should know about?
Yeah, definitely, and that's a great point. I've actually seen a lot of people barbecuing so far this year, a lot more than usual. So definitely want to remember those barbecue safety tips this year. First thing, when we pull out our barbecue at the start of the season, we always want to make sure we give it a good cleaning, okay? Remove any grease that may be left on the burners or any grease from last year in the bottom of the barbecue. That leftover and built up grease can start a fire or a big flare up, so we want to give it a good cleaning to start the season, and periodically as well, give it a good cleaning. Make sure we don't let that grease build up inside the barbecue. Also, start of the year, we want to give the barbecue a good inspection. Give everything a good look, give it a good test, make sure that there's no corrosion, no leaky hoses, nothing looks cracked or corroded. If anything on the barbecue doesn't look right, looks cracked, corroded, don't use it. Replace those parts or the whole unit if necessary. Also check our propane tanks, make sure they don't look corroded or rusted or anything like that. Get proper ones, new ones as well. And we can always do a test for leaks with a 50-50 soap and water solution as well to make sure there's no leaks from the lines. So
Very useful.
some really important tips, make sure we start off the season right. Now when we are going to barbecue, we want to make sure that we have enough clearance, okay? Just like the open flame, we want to make sure that we're far enough from any building, structures, wooden fencing, or anything combustible. So make sure we have a lot of clearance away from anything that can burn. We want to always do it outside, not under a canopy or in a garage, and always supervise your barbecue. But what do we say about cooking?
That's right, so look while you cook. So the same thing goes for when we're barbecuing, we're looking while we cook and always supervising.
So always nearby your barbecue. Now if you have little ones nearby, you may have pets and children outside with you as you're barbecuing. Keep a 3 foot zone or 1 meter zone around your barbecue, like a safe zone. At least a meter all around the barbecue to keep children and pets away so they don't burn or get too close to the barbecue. Always supervise it. And never throw water on a grease fire.
That's right.
Right? Never throw water on a grease fire. When you do start up your barbecue, always best to open the lid first, and then open the fuel at the source, and then ignite the burners. Now when turning off your barbecue, always remember, turn off the fuel at the source first, and then turn off the barbecue at the burners. That will get rid of any gas, any residual gas that's left in the line. So always at the source first to turn it off.
Great, well those are some great barbecue tips that I'm sure all of us are going to use this summer as we get into barbecue season. Now let's go to our audience to see if they have any questions about anything that we've talked about so far.
Yeah, we've got a couple of great questions. We got a lot of thumbs up and smiles and hellos, but this question comes from Ross. Ross is an avid barbecuer. but he only barbecues in the summer. He says in the winter months, he disconnects his propane cylinder and he stores it in the basement over the winter. Is that okay?
No, definitely not. We definitely do not want to be storing a propane tank anywhere indoors for that matter. Propane tanks are designed and meant to be kept outside. They're meant for outdoor use and outdoor storage. So definitely not storing a propane tank inside, and the basement especially. If any propane were to leak out of there, propane is heavier than air, and we have a lot of ignition sources low down in our basement, pilot lights and things like that. So we can create a really hazardous situation by bringing a propane tank inside. Definitely not inside the basement or anywhere inside the home for that matter.
Excellent point. Also, Linda from Scarborough is asking, her husband barbecues outside all the time, but once in a while when it rains, he'll roll the barbecue into the garage and finish up in there. Doesn't do it for very long, but is that okay for a short period of time, barbecuing in the garage?
So no, again, as Michael had mentioned, we never ever barbecue in a garage or under any type of canopy. Okay, we need to make sure that we're having enough clearance, and if we're barbecuing in the garage or under anything, that could obstruct our clearance and it's very unsafe. Also, we never barbecue in the garage because it can cause carbon monoxide poisoning as well. Okay, so carbon monoxide is a silent killer. It's a deadly poisonous gas. If you experience carbon monoxide, you may get symptoms like extreme fatigue, dizziness, loss of consciousness, and it can eventually even lead to death. So it's very, very serious. For that reason, we always need to make sure that we have our carbon monoxide alarms that are located outside all of our sleeping areas. So if we live in a home with 3 floors and someone sleeps upstairs on the 3rd floor and someone else sleeps in the basement, you are required to have your carbon monoxide alarm outside of all of those sleeping areas. Okay? Really, really important to make sure that we're testing our carbon monoxide alarms once a month as well to make sure that they're working. Very simple, very easy, just press and hold the button. Also make sure that you replace the batteries in your carbon monoxide alarms at least twice a year to make sure that we always have a working battery. And again, just like when we hear our smoke alarm, when we hear our carbon monoxide alarm go off, we get out of the house right away, we go to our family meeting place, and once we're safely outside, that is when we call 911 for assistance.
Now, what if we're inside the home and we don't see anything, we don't smell anything, but for some reason we hear it beeping?
Yeah.
What are we going to do then? Why would it be beeping if we don't see anything?
So again, I get that question a lot. Or my carbon monoxide alarm is going off, but I'm not seeing, smelling, or tasting anything. And again, you're not going to. Carbon monoxide is a silent killer. It's poisonous, it's deadly, it's odorless, it's tasteless. So you're not going to think that there is a problem, but there definitely is a problem. So again, please make sure as soon as you hear your carbon monoxide alarm, you stop whatever it is that you're doing, you go outside right away, and you call 911, and we'll be able to come and investigate the situation for you to make sure that it's safe.
Okay, good. And now that we're talking about detection a little bit, it's also important that we mention our smoke alarms as well. So just like our CO alarms, we're going to have one outside all sleeping areas.
That's correct.
Smoke alarms, we need to have at least one working smoke alarm on all levels of our home, including the basement and outside all sleeping areas. So that means we need to hear the alarm where we're sleeping. So at least one on every level and outside all sleeping areas. And just like our CO alarm, it's important that we test them once a month. And that can be done just by pressing and holding the test button and listening for the beep. Once we hear the beep, we'll know that our smoke alarm is working. So once a month, give it a test. And batteries, both devices have batteries, right?
Yes,
so
both devices have batteries.
change those every time we change our clocks is a good way to remember to change those batteries as well. And if we ever hear our smoke alarm, just like our CO alarm, get outside right away and stay outside.
Yes, remember everyone, working smoke alarms save lives. Thank you so much for joining us today. For more information, please remember to visit our website at www.toronto.ca/fire. We hope you all learned a lot of great useful tips, and thank you so much. Stay safe.